Well, the bottom of the cycling industry basically is bottomed out. It flatlined. Well, no, it didn't flatline. It can get a hell of a lot worse. Well, unfortunately for me, I have ran into the experience of the hardships that a lot have been enduring in these times, and it does affect me as a shop as well as my family. So let's indulge and talk about this a little bit. So looking at a bike shop like this, it's a small independent bike shop, which there's a lot of these across the United States. And they've been dwindling in numbers for over the decades. And they were a huge takeover of individual corporations making chain stores, which there's nothing wrong with that of making a buck. But looking at the hardships now of an independent bike shop like mine, individual that owns a shop or bike shops that have, most of us have usually a significant other that actually has a salary that really helps everything go along. For us to be able to provide a community for those, or provide services for the communities of cycling. Yes, we have worked at this for many years, and I will probably choke up several times through this podcast because it does directly affect me as well as my family, as well as all of you alike out there. Either you're an avid cyclist and you're affected by the outcomes that has happened in the last year or so to you, as well as other bike shops that had to do some very, very tough changes of actually shifting their business to more scaled down and let people go. This is hard economical times for any business per se. And yes, we basically suffered a huge blow. Let's talk about that and see what us in the bike industry are tackling to make it through, to be honest. All right, let's get into this. Hey, welcome to Tuesdays. This is Shop Talk Tuesday. Hi, I'm Justin from Manila Guy Bicycles. And if you've watched any of my series before, you've known that I've been part of the cycling industry for over 35 years. And doing this conversion from huge shops to small shops to whatever in between the last 35 years, I've downscaled to a small shop out of my garage. In the last 5 years, I've been developing and cultivating a culture, or helping the culture of cycling around me, as well as you across, let's just face it, around the world, which is really cool. So there's a lot of positives in this, but it is a hardship that we're all enduring to some level, or most of us anyway. And when we get into the weeds of it, this is what it comes down to. A lot of complicated topics, and that's what we're going to talk about in this particular show, as well as further shows down the line. But in any case, thank you for joining me, and please feel free to add to the chat. This is a live stream, and if you're catching this on the replay, please check it out and also put comments of basically exposing your experiences to the cycling world as an avid cyclist, newbie cyclist, to all those who have been in the industry for a short period of time to a long period of time. But in any case, I do have to present one of my sponsors that helped me, and that's going to be helping me as a partnership, a trusted partner, going forward and through these economical hardships.
Wheel Warehouse in California has an excellent selection of wheels to choose from. They're pre-built, or also you can have them custom built up to various sizes. You can reach out to them directly if you have something unique like the 650 wheel or a different style hub. Therefore, it makes it an excellent bike wheel set company that actually provides good wheel sets without breaking the bank. You will find them being very trusted and true. They really hold up under a lot of different riding conditions and so forth. It takes the standard old school wheel building practices and puts them in a better format. But in any case, this is a wheel set you'll be really love to have. It'll perform for you for a long period of time, and the quality and the attention to detail is superb. You'll find information about this company in the description below, with also my personal coupon code. I hope you find a good wheel set where it works for you.
So, being part of the cycling YouTube realm and so forth, I am not here to be on a soapbox crying about my hardships. I am here to basically tell you that, well, let's just roll it back. I am one of those individuals that have been in the industry for a long time. Also, before that, I used to be a punk rocker. And punk rocker mentality basically doesn't get sad or mopey or depressed. Those are the new wavers or death rockers or whatever. Punk rockers, we just basically get pissed and we just plow through it as hard and fast as we can. So keeping that mindset of back to my grassroots of aggressiveness, which, is really tempered down. I'm usually a lovable, nice guy, but when it comes down to it, please don't mess with me. But in any case, as my daughter would say, bring out the dad voice. Well, I'm not here to ask for money. Like a lot of people are like, I need a charitable, whatever. No. I do have some sponsors. Actually, I call them trusted partners. They're vetted few companies that I work with, I've talked to, and I feel full-heartedly support what they do. So they provided me a discount code to give you a discount, which helps their business, which is a small business as well as mine. So if you want to help contribute or be a part of this community and you feel like you want to, throw some greenbacks down, I have t-shirts on the shop shelf below, like these. In addition to, I have sponsorships from Bucksville Wheel Warehouse, as you just mentioned. They do hand-built wheels as well as lower and expensive wheels to keep your ride going within a realm where technology has gotten to a point they've gotten rid of rim brakes and so forth. This is where your source is if you want to refresh those classic rides of yesterday or even the newer ones. So that's a particular good one, trusted partner as well. And also Vital Bike Chains, which is, I will do the promo a little bit later. They do pre-wax chains and they do all sorts of really cool speed wax, endurance ships and so forth. But in any case, and then of course I do have the big conglomerate of Amazon store. So if you shop Amazon, that's a way you can help me, help yourself. And in any case, we all get something. So anyway, all that out of the way, let's dive into this. Let's dive into the chat. John, good morning to you. Good day from Victoria, Minnesota. I feel for you. Besides being cold, you've had some challenges lately up there, and I hope everything's going well in your neck of the woods. Considering what's going on, we're actually not too terrible. In any case, Mr. Laffy Taffy, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. Oh, I need to add the chat so everybody can see both formats. And Susan, thank you for shouting out to all those cyclists who were able to get out to support the Alex Petrie. I can't even say his name right. Kind of choking up over 1,400 utility rides on the weekend. That is something to say, regardless of how you sit on the fence, and hopefully you're on more of the sympathetic, heartwarming individual fence side, as a lot of us hope everybody is in the cycling community. What a great show of community. And something like that just is amazing to see. Is in my neck of the woods, as well as a lot of places across the nation, as well outside of our borders, to show support, which is awesome. Because we have those rally rides when somebody gets accidentally killed while riding the bike or what have you. Been a lot of those, and unfortunately, situations like this, as well as others, shouldn't just happen. So great for all of you to stand up and say something, and let's move forward. In any case, thank you for shouting out, Susan. I appreciate it. For those that are our family members from the north, as well as Joe Channel. Joe, thank you for chiming in from our beloved Canadian friends up north. Gorgeous weather today. Yeah, you better go out there and get a ride in. Today we have a little bit of cloudcast, so I'll see if I have. But anyway, my circumstances have changed quite a bit. How does that affect me? Well, basically, like Mr. Rogers never said, grab your big boy pants, pull them up, and let's just get this done. I'm not changing sweaters or shoes, my friends. I'm actually changing a little more intensity, as you will, more focused, more laser intentioned business strategy, in addition to helping my community in cycling, as well as the community I see on YouTube, as well as others. I'm going to be talking about a couple points here from the NBDA, National Bicycle Dealer Association. And the reason why I bring this up, they had a monthly meeting of a couple of their peers that they talk about the industry and how they foresee it. And I do have a link below. I suggest you watch that after this, of course, to kind of get some insights of what these individuals are talking about as in bicycle retail. So if you're in bicycle retail, either listening in from a bike shop or been in the bike industry for a while, or one of the major massive changes, that kind of thing, this is some good resources and insights. And if you want to become a member, they did give me a kid discount code to help you get into NBDA with a little less upfront cost. So that's also linked below. Not a sense of really trying to push their stuff, only because they really do support independent bike dealers. And they are been a bigger organizations. I've been affiliated with them through shops, and it always seemed to me before like these are just the big guys that own big shops and just like get together and do these meetings. But what it really does, it has trickled down to there's a lot of small shops that are now involved, in which they really are trying to bring in and cultivate as getting their opinion, because guess what? The industry is freaking changing, and regardless of how you feel about it, either you're part of a big chain or what have you, it is going to be changing from here on out, and it's not going back. That's a couple points we're going to really talk about here and go over. But in any case, yeah, let's jump back into the chat and see who else has jumped in. Hey, David, thank you for joining us. Oh, hello, Aurora, Colorado. I went to Oberlin High School. That's where I graduated. So, yeah. And some people say, oh, you went to Oberlin, which is part of the Cherry Creek School District, or was back then, probably still is, which is more of the higher end Cherry Creek. But we were the ghetto Cherry Creek school. So, even though, whatever, any case. But yeah, we spent some time in Aurora. Great place. We still have family down in that area as well. McGlad3N, thank you for joining. Got any bikes for sale? Check out my website. I got a couple frames, parts, and a few bikes. They're on my website, iknowaguybicycles.com. So what I have available is what's listed there. David from New York, thank you for chiming in and checking in. Appreciate it. If you're new to the live stream, this is going to be a little more serious topic this time around. I usually keep it a little bit lighthearted. I do bring on guests. I did have an awesome guest last week, which was Gary Fisher, as well as John Bradley as a stable on our show. So that's a fun watch. Gary Fisher basically just took over the whole show for 2 hours. It's cool. It's fine. But yeah, if you want to listen in, definitely it's linked below, and then also in the description too, if you want to check that out. Check that out in a later time. He's a interesting, fun guy. Let's just put it that way. In any case, woo! It's been crazy and wild. So this big freaking shift from bicycles being toys or high elite luxury items is drastically shifted to become more of a utility-based vehicles for people to leverage in uncertainty times, or they want to be more environmentally aware and those kinds of things. So I'm not going to harp on those particular points of thinking. It's just your situation like ours, somebody loses a job, and it might be a while until they get another job because the market that she is in is fierce. Reason being because it's in like part of the whole layoffs. So unfortunately, the scientific community is basically fighting. They forced them to fight over scraps of jobs and try to get anything, and whatever's left is not very stable. So that's just that particular segment, and you talk about all the other segments. So that puts basically, long story short, a lot of families with over six-figure incomes, losing that income, is now doing some really hard adjustments. And part of that is ditching a vehicle because the cost of the vehicle, payments and insurance and all that goes with it, and possibly switching to, you guessed it, the recreational utility bikes, which a lot of communities and a lot of families have already done this over the years. Now it's going to be even more so. And that's where the cycling industry, as in bike shops, independent bike shops, have seen a massive insurgence of repairs, service work, used bikes, used parts, because everybody's watching their dollars and cents. If they haven't been affected, they're worried about being affected by it. And this is becoming more of a global thing. And again, I'm sorry. But in the United States, we are just all buckling down and trying to hope for the best, but we are preparing for the worst. And with those particular situations, a lot of people are working towards fixing up bikes like this Mozzie, which has a rear rack on it. It's a steel frame. It has a 1x8, trying to get it all fixed up for doing, recreational riding, commuting, going to the restaurants, cutting out everything they can, the costs of driving the vehicle and expenses and so forth. But the beautiful flip side of getting into cycling, doing more rides and so forth, helps your mental health, helps your physical health. So when people see a lot of benefit of that nature as well, they're able to navigate through the day with less depression and also a little healthier. So they might be eating healthier, and then everything's going to be a little bit better, just a little. And that's how we're really hoping for on a lot of this. It's just one little glimmer of better per day, per hour, per minute. I mean, that's where it really comes down to. And I have family members that have been affected by depression, and then friends as well. And I've seen the horrible outcomes to those. And this is where the situation that cycling can really help navigate through those hard times for a lot of people. So being not just a therapist with bikes, that kind of sounds like I'm harping a lot, but a lot of bike shops are finding themselves in more of a scenario where they're getting a lot more service. I do implore a lot of those shops to basically kind of take a step back a beat and put yourself in those customers' shoes, and don't knee-jerk to the corporate standards of replace or spend more money or upgrade. A lot of these people are actually in a situation where they just need it to get them by, and they don't need that carbon bar. They don't need that carbon seat post. They don't need that elevated drivetrain, or they don't need to be told that their bike's too old to be worked on and they need to go buy a new one. I mean, how insulting is that? You've gone through some hardships, and all of a sudden this individual behind the counter thinking they're all end all be all of the cycling world, and they're going to tell them nope, you just need to go buy yourself a $3,000 bike because we're not going to work on this. That is totally crap. That hopefully has changed in a lot of shops, and it has, but I'm just saying that just needs to be done now. Anyway, okay. Oh, I got a notification from Facebook. Sorry, Facebook people, we're having troubles. Let's see if I can get this thing. Oh boy, there we go. Got a notification out of my face, so I can move on. Woo! All right, G-Poss, I hope you're doing great up in New York. I hope your shop is getting prepared for the season ahead. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon. Well, I guess it is afternoon for you. You're on the East Coast. So I'm just still morning time here, pounding some coffee, trying to get through it. Yeah, and David, I turned you on to the Le Mans bikes. I have 5 now. Holy cow. Wow. It's addicting, right? I got 3. I have a Buenos Aires full carbon, a pop rod, and another steel frame Reynolds Buenos Aires with the whichever Reynolds that they had. And kind of, between the carbon and the steel, I'm kind of feeling more steel is real. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at. I've been always looking for that titanium Le Mans. I mean, it just is the Le Mans have really fit me better. So on a side note, that's where I kind of gravitate to and try to do More of my writing on. But hey, I am open to other brands and styles and flavors, because cycling is supposed to be fun, right? And there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of different perspectives of it, and it's gotten so huge over the years. So in any case. What about the deal in New Jersey where you need to register insurance, e-bikes? This could hurt e-bike sales there in the future, which could hurt jobs. Absolutely. But I feel like there needs to be some level of regulations because of battery issues and so forth. So I don't, they did talk about that on the NBDA podcast a little bit. I am not that so in tune to the legalities and so forth, what they're pushing through. But in Europe, for example, registrations and helmet requirements and so forth are being pushed in certain countries. So, and what we're talking about too, the e-bike is a classification, but there's like subsets of those e-bikes. I mean, you have the recreational assist where you pedal and it helps you go a little bit further, faster, but it doesn't go too fast. It basically you're still working out. And then you have the full throttle guys, which are basically just a little electric motorcycle. And that's where those are two different huge things, and the classifications need to kind of fill it. When you're talking about legislation, they're always a decade behind of knowing what the hell's going on and how to approach it. And actually, this is spin out of control to a point where there needs to be something done, but I'm not sure they know exactly what they can do at this point. So they're working through it. And yes, it could have some kickback, feedback problems to that. But in any case, but great point though, Mr. New Life. It's the e-bike thing, it's here. It's going to stay regardless if you're an avid cyclist and you don't like them. They're going to be on your bike paths regardless. So we need some educational layer. And that's a bit of the 10 points that I pulled off of the NBDA's industry news. And this is my opinion piece on those. And we're going to start off. The first part of it is small business bankruptcy trends in 25 versus 26 forecasts. And that's the point that they brought up. And basically, we've had within most businesses basically had the record number of bankruptcies, which affects all categories. And when you look at that versus the last time we had that was back in 2000, 2008, the bubble, it's bad. And when you're looking at, for example, wholesalers that you may not know as an avid cyclist and so forth, where do all my parts come from and so forth. Us bike shops, we leverage wholesalers that bring in parts and they sell to us. And that's the companies like KHS is no longer, and the various other ones have reduced their warehouse space and products that they carry, as well as depth of inventory, which is really going to cripple us in a sense of it's like we don't have the in laundry list of searching of parts and so forth. It might come down to on certain bikes that this is all we can find, it's not exactly what you want, and it's going to be more expensive. That's where this cascade effect is going to affect just on that economical downturn of these businesses that support local bike shops of providing parts, accessories, even bikes are limited or no longer there. So that is not likely going to change anytime soon. And whoever's still standing is either gotten really creative or they've gotten really lucky or they're spending their savings, in which I think it's more the latter. All of them are just trying to ride this out until they do have to do Chapter 11 or 7. So and what that means in the United States, that some of these companies are struggling. And even though they may keep a strong face, they're struggling. There's no way they can get to be around that. So that's where we're looking at some, that's an indicator there, huge, vastly. And I'm not an economist. I'm a bike mechanic in a garage industry, and I've seen crazy, wacky stuff in the last 35 years. But when you see big trends of that nature, you got to pucker up a little and go, oh, this is going to affect me, which it did. And not necessarily directly of that, but other things that relate to that. So, in any case. Another part of it, there's 10 things here. The second part is the tariff impacts. And the tariff impacts are so, we've already endured this for the last 10 months, and there's no clarity to it. And there doesn't seem to be any further clarity to it. And it's just this weird barometer where it has affected a lot of companies that bring in parts and bikes and accessories into the United States. And I'm going to say this right now. The manufacturing that they're saying that they want to bring back to the United States is not going to happen whatsoever. Some, to some level, sure. More assembly, more smaller manufacturing, but to the mass scale of what we need to have built to support everything in our industry, or basically retail and everything else, is not going to be shifted back into the United States. It's too costly. It doesn't work. It's too expensive to run. These companies are not looking at that whatsoever. There's a few that are crying that they are going to do this. And I'm not saying the smaller ones will, but I'm saying for the mass majority of it, it's not going to happen. So what are these companies going to have to do? They're going to have to endure the tariffs influx, try to work around it as much as possible. And basically the direct result is less inventory for us to work with to help build our, to help support our cycling communities, and the costs have gone up. I've gone through a couple of repairs with, I had to get new tires and so forth, definitely have increased to 20 to 30%. And I wasn't able to get exactly what they're looking for. I got something that's going to work for them, but it's not going to be exact. So that's where we're going to be faced in the next next future. I mean, it's just like, that's where we're at. And there's no streamlining, or they're going to be, okay, we're going to go back to normal and dissolve all these. They have cases in the Supreme Court and the court systems to look over these particular tariffs. Then unfortunately, the administration has backup plans. So if they get knocked down, they're going to do something else. So there, more disruption. Unfortunately, that's where we're just at. And that's affecting companies that are in the United States, out of the United States, and everything else in between. And you can't forecast that. Talking to industry leaders that, or the bin industry, like John Bradley or Gary Fisher, like, you can't forecast a business under the, in the environment. So it's basically a whole bunch of damage control and taking the wins when you can find it. So in any case, that led into the Supreme Court part. That was 3. And 4 is the actual tariffs on steel, aluminum. So when you're talking about tariffs, there's compounding tariffs. So what blew my mind was, let's say you buy a company and you're trying to bring in imports from China. Oh boy, China, because that has one of the higher tariffs rate on it. Well, also they have to do a laundry list of where they got the materials from. And that materials, the steel or what have you, came from another country with another tariff on it. That gets compounded on top of each other. So it's not just what's coming out of China, or can't just shift that product to Taiwan or to more of a favorable country and then deport it, or port it from there, shift it from there. Anyway, they're not able to get around it. So you basically have to use AI to laundry list all this inventory that's coming in on these boats, because they have multiple stackable tariffs. That's what they get charged. They'll get charged again later. It's a mess. So with that being said, another layer of complicity of trying to figure out how to get inventory into the United States without absorbing the costs, also carrying the cost of the consumer to extreme increases, where already the market is soft. We're already not buying things because either we're affected or somebody is affected, or we're worried about being affected of what our household income is going to be. Therefore, costs are already gone up and we're not seeing them go down. And that's the point right there, is majority of times when MSRP gets pushed up in prices, and a lot of like tires, tubes, chains, cassettes, cables, bikes, and all that, even though if the economical situation levels out, they don't go down. It's not like eggs. It's not like milk. It's not like gas. those are the things that do flex. These, like everything else, when they get pushed up, that's the new norm. So that's what we're looking at. And that's unfortunate because that can price people out of getting something fixed or not getting the products that they've enjoyed using, like certain brands, brand loyalty and all that. That's gone out the window. It's like, can't afford the Continental tires. I'm going to go with a Kenda or whatever brand I never heard of before because that's all I can afford right now. So that's where we're going to be looking at, definitely in the short term to the next year or two. So in any case, so with that job marketing cooling, which we're suffering here, retail is struggling. So if you were a bike shop and you relied on a lot of high-end bike sales and rely on a lot of accessories and racks and everything else in between, those sales have dried up, and now we're getting a new insurgence of people looking for price point used bikes or lower cost bikes and a lot of service. So that's where you're going to see a lot of independent bike shops like myself, which I already have, shifted organically because, well, this is what's happening. And bike shops have to not wait 3 months to make any adjustments from their suppliers or their business plan or any of that nature. It has to be done bi-weekly at this point. That's an added lift to the owners and managers of a lot of bike shops because you got to review where all your inventory is possibly coming from and the pricing structure that is, and adjust. Also the demand or lack of demand on certain categories. And you got to get into this is the inventory side of me. You got to get into the POS, dive in for all those numbers and figure out all those categories, and hopefully you got it categorized right so where you can see any kind of trends up and down of any of those particular categories, like tubes are going up or chains are going up or this is going down or grips are just stale or whatever, and make those adjustments and put guardrails on all of that. We used to have a program called Retail Toolkit, which was great, which is owned now by Kickstand, which is Smart E-tailing now, where I basically, I don't know if they're even leveraging that anymore, but this would be a great tool to be able to help shops navigate through these things, and hopefully they are leveraging that. So if any of you are still at Retail Toolkit watching this, I know who you are, mostly software people, please give a hand out to those independent bike dealers and help them navigate that, or somebody's going to make up their own algorithm. But in any case, it has to review bi-weekly, and that's an added time suck for any bike shop. So you take my scenario, I'm just plugging away, making X amount, I'm doing fine, I'm comfortable. And all of a sudden this hits, right? All of a sudden I don't have an income in our household where I need to help offset that deficit, which I'm never gonna match that. I mean, bikes in general do not make a lot of money. So, but I can up my ante and ramp up on certain categories to help push a little more volume, more tune-ups. I'm going to be a little more tired, which I'm more than happy to do to help my family to get through this rough patch. And however long it takes, that's what I'm going to have to put in. So I buckle up, double down, that kind of thing. So what's that going to mean to me? The numbers that I've looked into, and if you're a small shop, what I've seen as success is service. And with that service, it's not just discounting and get them in with coupons. It's actually providing a cultivating, opportunities for people to bring their bikes in to help support their shop that supports their community. And in addition to, this is the time to have their bikes worked on before the season hits, or when the season hits, they're going to have to wait a week or two and so forth, that kind of thing. Also, you can really leverage, this is the best time to do it because you can get the best tune-up possible. So if they're not riding them, great time to get it worked on. And the parts are available as now, for the most part-ish, to get those bikes done. I can't say in 6 months if we're going to have a good supply on tires. Maybe 32Cs will completely disappear, as in with tires. There's all these indicators, and the only people that really know the struggle on that is the wholesalers that are struggling and they're still trying to get inventory in, but they're not going to get everything in because they have to go lean themselves. So this would be a good time, to get your bikes tuned up. You can convey that through levels of marketing, either through YouTube or email blasts or Facebook pages, where I've seen a whole bunch of other bike shops try to leverage this and try to cultivate some keep the lights on income. But when it hits, it's going to hit hard, because we're going to find a lot more people trying to get more used bikes fixed up, parts and so forth for those, like wheels, like we mentioned with the Bicycle Wheel Warehouse is a great resource. Also working with them, because they build a lot of wheels, and there's not just consumer forward facing. They have another business on the back end, but I'm working with them trying to help them leveraging direct to dealer pricing and a better opportunity, because what's happening is of companies like QBP and JBI and various other ones, if they're still around, their inventory is scaling down, and that gives a limitation on what wheel you're going to be able to get to find to replace on this one, and it might not be that great of a match. It's just whatever they can come up with in the computer and go, oh, well, we're going to go with that. And honestly, wheels in the used market, you can find some gyms out there, but more often than not, they're damaged. Most of the bikes that I refurbish and so forth, usually I have one wheel has usually a lot of work, or I just need to get another set, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind if you're looking for used bikes and what have you. Wheels is a third of the bike, and it is a very expensive, can be a very expensive replacement. But companies like Bicycle Warehouse still make rim brake wheels that accommodate, the 8-speed or the 9-speed hubs, and those kinds of things. So they're a great resource for doing stuff like I'm doing, which I implore a lot of shops to start looking into doing, because they're going to have to look for different sources. In addition to, for example, let's just do a little breather here, and I can catch my thoughts while you learn about vital bike chains.
A very popular chain process or waxing of vital bike chains provides brand names like Shimano, SRAM, and various others to be cleaned in high detailed 5-step process and then waxed to your professional level with either speed chip or endurance chip, which has been proven to have better performance and better lasting events and recreational riding. It takes care of the messy process, and all you have is the clean wax chain ready to perform. Check them out. Discount code with a link below.
So we know in the service departments, chain waxing has become a thing. A lot of the customers are coming in asking for them, and we're more happy to fulfill that. And it's gotten so popular that some chain manufacturers are starting to pre-wax some of their chains. KMC, Connex has a couple, but it doesn't cover all of them. And it's just a basic wax, which is fine for about 90% of the riders out there. But if you have a customer, for example, it does not recreational, but they're doing a triathlon, or they're getting into racing, or doing a gravel race, or with that, and they're thinking about doing like speed chips or the faster wax performance, or even the flip side, or more endurance. Vital Bike Chains is a place where they already pre-wax, and you can choose particular formulas. More specifically, for a bike shop like myself, to do that is too much of a lift. It is. For me to have all these different variations and so forth. So I'm working at Vital Bike Chains to see if we can work out a situation where bike shops can leverage his services, or if anything, like, oh, well, we'll just get a chain from him that has the speed chip and all ready to go, and time the service is ready for completion. We got there. That's part of the creativity of it. You're able to do more with less, right? Who in their right minds right now hand lace wheels? Not very many of us. A lot of us know how to do it, but the time it takes for us to do that, you could do 2 tune-ups, or be able to get 3 or 4 other people on bikes riding, and versus sitting down there and hand lacing it. Leave it to the experts to get that done, and vet the ones that actually do a really good job. then you're good to go. Same thing with suspension work. A lot of bike shops don't do suspension work in-house anymore. That's all contracted out through either Dirt Labs in Longmont or various others. I mean, Trek Corporate, with their corporate stores, they opened up, they probably closed them by now, but they had like 3 or 4 suspension facilities where they were sending from their own shops to have suspension done. And then basically the bike gets stripped down, the fork gets taken off and shipped, gets fixed, and comes back and they complete the job. That's been going on for a couple decades now. And suspension is very expensive, it's costly to train and all that. So you want to make sure it's done by the right people at the right time and the right amount of cost. So when they're doing that at volume, it brings the cost down. Same thing for hand-laced wheels from a company like Bicycle Wheel Warehouse or waxing for a Vital Bike Change. So therefore, if you're looking at your business and you're like, how can we leverage this to make it more profitable and also providing more services for our customers without taking on the huge monumental lift of cost of training, tooling, and everything else. There's going to be more of this and more of it pretty quickly because shops are reevaluating their staff and they have to be lean. And they've always been this way. Cycling industry has always been hard on getting the right people and staffing and training. And once you get them trained up, you don't want to let them go, but if it's seasonal, you have to. Then you have to do the whole process over again. It's basically you're hoping for a different change, but doing the same thing over and over and over. It is a true definition of insanity, and it has been going on for decades. And now we're in a situation where we have an opportunity to change that narrative and leveraging more partnerships where you don't have to be this independent and closed business anymore. You can be a business that has a lot of connections and partners. Therefore, you can provide better products, better timelines, and more opportunities for your community to have or provide more services and so forth in that perspective. So in any case, that's a long-winded way of saying there's a lot of opportunities out there. You need to take a look. And I've been organically coming across these in a way that, this actually can help me do what I want to do, which is basically more passive income, but it also helps me provide products for customers. For example, I'm doing a pro build, basically bought the frame and all the parts and everything, and he bought a chain from Vital Bike Chains, and therefore it's like he got a little discount on it. He said the chain was about the cost of a new one already pre-waxed. So, for the value for him, he was going to have me wax it anyway. And now he's going to try the speed chip thing. It's like, hey, that's kind of cool. Because I was not going to be able to provide that because I don't have time. I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. Not that I don't want to. It just comes down to what works and what kind of efficiency I can bring to my business, which all shops are going to be looking into going into 2026. And there's some things that are just like, we just can't do that. And it just, even though we don't want to take that off the shelf of opportunities to help our community, we don't want to be the ones that just say, nope, 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 nope. I mean, that's just not good for anyone. But if you have a backup plan, so if somebody comes in and goes, I need a SRAM, whatever latest top shelf, whatever chain, and I want to have a speed wax. I heard speed wax kind of cool. And so it's like, well, we don't have the speed wax or we only do standard wax. Like, hey, I can get you one of those at, prices at this and with, service fee of $20 or 50, whatever it is to have you order it. And that saves you time for melting a whole bunch of stuff and cleaning and out. It's already pre-baked, clean, and ready to go. And then you can just install, and the customer gets the win. You get a little bit of kick, and you provide that service. And guess what? You went extra mile for that customer, where some shops you would have probably said nope. The latest one was the customer came in and he had he goes to other shops, right? I mean, I can't be so arrogant and go, I'm the only shop that these people go to. Like, no, they go shop at other stores, and they went to one shop and they were having, for convenience, it's a little bit closer, and like, I need to have these tires sealant put in, set up tubeless. And they did, they had like, it's an older shop, and I guess they're a little grouchy about tubeless, and they're like very aggressive, like, well, did you bring in sealant? And that's how the customer perceived it, regardless of how the person said it or not. But that's how they perceived it, which is not great. And then he was like, no, I'm assuming you're a bike shop and you'd have sealant, was going through his head. It's like, and then the sales associate or owner or whoever it was at the bike shop was like, well, oh, we got some of our own, whatever. Like, that could be worded so much easier. Like, do you have a sealant preference? If you do, you can bring it in. If you don't, we have this as a house brand. Simple as that. Same effect in a different, but less, the transaction would have gotten a lot better. The likelihood of that individual going back to that bike shop again for anything is 0. He flat out told me, like, I'll never go there again. Bunch of pricks. That's the stigma that we have to combat with our own staff. Now, I've been there. I've had staff, like I've worked in a shop or actually chain store where 30 employees underneath me, and one of them just does something dumb. It makes the whole store look bad. So you got to have a good layer of training and also communication to your staff, like, we're here to help, period. Any case, let me know what your thoughts are. Am I just rambling to myself and everybody's like falling on deaf ears and that kind of thing? Throw it in the chat or put it in. If you're watching this on a replay, please go ahead and keep the conversation going for sure. I'm gonna jump in the chat here and see who else is possibly joined in. All righty. Okay. Oh, Patrick Washburn, thank you for chiming in from New Orleans. A little bit warmer down in your neck of the woods. I wish I was there riding right now. Oh, Fat Tuesday got to be coming up, right? Soon for you. Woo. Yeah, but that's something. I went down there with my wife's, when her former job, we had a conference down there, and it was fun. Bourbon Street was really cool. A lot of history. Really great city, and man, it was like 14 years ago, so a little younger, went out a little bit more, and one hell of a party scene, like even on a Monday night. It's just nuts. It's like Vegas and different with a lot more humidity. Oh, Hardbody 7774, thank you for chiming in. Companies will lose on the U.S. dollar exchange as well with dealing with foreign suppliers and tariffs. Yeah, it's a whole mess. So there alludes that a lot of the new products are just going to go up, and everybody's job security is going down, and it's not good. So these companies are going to bring in a product, are going to be baselining the products that they know they're going to sell for the most confidence, because they have to have cash flow. It has to sell and move. That's why you've seen a whole bunch of stuff on sale for the last 3 years, because their cash flow has been damaged to the point where the banks are asking for their money back. And that's a problem, because if you can't extend those loans any further, they go Chapter 7 or 11. That's it. That's just bad. Oh, 7-Eleven, Chapter 7-Eleven. Interesting. Did not put that connection before. Don't go 7-Eleven, man. It's not a very good Slurpee. If you don't know what 7-Eleven is, it's a chain store. You probably do. It's like 7-Eleven had like in the 80s, didn't they have a rate? They sponsored a team that, I don't know, maybe Greg LeMond was on back then. Ooh, have to go look in the history banks and go see what that is all about. That. But yeah, it's pretty messy. Oh, good one. No, that's a good point, Susan. They have a shop and willing to pay for funds for safer cycling infrastructure. Yeah, it's just, everything's so reactionary right now, as in for infrastructure, for bike paths and so forth. I live in an area which is, I'm just so lucky because they've been working and chipping away at the cycling infrastructure. And it's not perfect by any means. No, don't get me wrong. But we do have a lot of bike paths and so forth. Now we need to home in on the changes of the cycling market, where a lot of people are using more e-bikes and so forth. And where the conversation was at the NBDA, they were saying that the educational layer is really at the bike shop. This is where the best place can be conveyed, where somebody brings in shops or their bikes, their e-bikes, or what have you, of expanding on the education of how to ride it safely, how to utilize it, and so forth. Unfortunately, somebody that may not be aware of how the throttle systems work on some of these e-bikes buy a couple for their kids, and all of a sudden they're ripping through the neighborhood and potentially can get hurt or killed and hurt somebody else. So there's a whole level of education that needs to be brought into that. At the time of the purchase, might be a good warning tab, or a scary shock video of like, this shit could happen to you. Be careful and mindful, because I don't think any 9-year-old should have a full throttle scooter that can go over 20 miles per hour in your neighborhood. I mean, it's just asking for disaster. So educational level at the shops, but that's we only could do so much at the bike shop layer too. So it has to be a little more extension of that. So that's kind of nuts. Anyway. Oh, Japan has 7-Eleven on lockdown. Interesting. Thanks for thanks for chiming in. Oh, Spooky Tuesday. Good morning, you two from blah blah, Colorado. Hopefully it gets a little warmer here soon. But then again, those who live in Colorado, there are a few of you watching, our snowiest season's coming up. March and April is our snowiest months locally here. And hopefully we get snow, because drought is going to be horrible for not just us in Colorado. Colorado Rocky Mountains bleeds, well, not bleeds, but the river basins, rivers go into 7 other states. So the Rocky Mountains in Colorado supply water for 7 other states that need it for local city utilities, architecture, or not, talk about farmers and so forth, and yeah, also for like Hoover Dam in Las Vegas. I mean, electricity. So it's a very big thing, and if that's not monitored and observed and studied, i.e., that's my wife does as an atmospheric scientist. That's why I know way too much more than a bike mechanic should ever. It's going to be troublesome. So they're taking it. Yeah, it's not great. Let's just put it that way. Because if we're not looking at the problem or observing the problem in real time, it's going to have catastrophic effects for everybody downstream, literally. So anyway. Oh, nice. Thank you, Joe, for chiming in. Yeah, Andy Hampston. Yeah, I got to look at, I just remember pictures like in the 80s of the 7-Eleven team and, that kind of fun stuff. All right. Oh, hard-boiled? Okay, yeah, you're in Reno, Nevada. I've been through Reno. It's a really nice place. Oh, you have good road access, but a few of my friends have been involved in really bad accidents with cars. Yeah, nobody wins. I mean, even though it's not your fault, you still don't win when it comes to a car accident. All righty. Electric e-bikes. Yeah, you don't see very many e-bikes in your neck of the woods? Oh, they're coming. Oh, they're coming. I guarantee you they're coming. If e-bikes have not saturated your neck of the woods, it's going to. There's nothing that's going to stop that. Downrange Bike Works. Hey, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show. Thank you. Hey, cool little shop in Utah. I sniffed out your website and watched a couple of your videos. He also has a video channel too, as well as a Joe channel Oh, sorry, I butchered that, didn't I? Oh boy. Oh dear. Joe O Channel. Yeah, Joe O Channel. He was actually building a little service center out of his basement. I think maybe it's just for himself, but he does woodworking, which makes paddles and really cool stuff like that. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, also Downrange Bike Works. They have a small shop supporting the Utah area. I think it's like Salt Lake area. I think it's a suburb of Salt Lake. But yeah, seems like a good cat, doing his best, doing what he can to get people riding. Oh, in the 50s there. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 40s, 50s yesterday. So a couple layers without wind. Here, like in Utah, if it gets cloudy, it's chilly. But when the sun comes out, you just need to make sure you do a loop so you can do a rotisserie chicken while you ride. So eventually some part of you will warm up while the other one gets cold. So I've been on a couple of those rides like, why is the left side of my face numb? And it's sunny, I'm hot on this side, like sweat and freezing at the same time. It's weird. It's just a weird Colorado thing, I guess. Anyway. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Salt Lake City. Yep, Downrange Bike Works. So yeah, if you're in neck of the woods and need some stuff done, I think he does e-bikes too, and mountain stuff, of course, because Salt Lake City is surrounded by mountains. But in any case, yeah. So yeah, back to the laundry list of NBDA. I have my reservations of like joining, what have you. But I've been watching their stuff. I just thought I was too small. Then I joined. I'm like, oh, this is actually fits perfectly what I'm trying to get done and do and seeing and helping other shops, smaller shops that watch my channel and try to spread the word, right? Try to make a difference in our community, help other bike shops become healthy. Because if you ever suffer from a bike shop going when you own it and going out of business, that's bad. It's horrible for you, morale, life. And I experienced that with my parents' shop, and I don't want any. I mean, it's one of those things. It's a trigger for me. So never want to see that happen because there's a huge community of these bike shops that cultivated over the years, and if done right, sometimes it just it doesn't work out. But there's some things, if you like myself, woulda, shoulda, coulda, a lot of different things. I'm like, we could probably still be in business today. May not be wanting to be in business, but we would be still probably be in business today. This is a regurgitated version of it. Banner still behind me. This is like a cherry picked all the good stuff ish, and still trying to make a go at it. Not any aspirations of becoming a brick and mortar store or a chain or any of that. I just wanted to support and help my community and have fun doing it. Being part of the fun that cycling is supposed to be fun. Because that's what we're all we're not here to make a million. There's no way. It does not happen for us in the cycling industry. But we just like cool, fun stuff and sharing those experiences, and people get on bikes and ride. It's really what it comes down to for a lot of us. So in any case. All right. There's a couple of extra points here. Ideal Bikes. And Ideal Bikes is a manufacturer in Taiwan. This is an interesting little bit. They're breaking into the U.S. market at all times. This is like, why would they do this to themselves? But they really want to support independent bike dealers, apparently. And with Ideal Bikes, they are the third largest manufacturing of bikes in Taiwan. So in other words, just like Merida and Giant, they probably make several other brands for several other companies, white labeling, that kind of thing, what have you. But they do have a lower price point budget. When I looked on their website, like prices are actually not too bad, which fills in that void where a lot of the bigger brands are not actually cultivating right now. And I don't think they just don't see the value in it anymore, which they should, but that's my opinion. Are they going to shift that direction like the big TSG brands, Trek Specialized Giant, just to call them out, where there's a huge gap from the department store to that, and there needs to be something filled in there. Guess what? Walmart is filling some of the gaps. So, and therefore another brand that's going to independent bike dealers who are going to support them might be a good fit right now. We'll see. We'll see how that transpires. But we'll see. And they're entering the U.S. market, retail first, distributing, that kind of concept. So instead of going direct to consumer, going to go through retail and have a quiver for bike shops to have a bike line. Now it's not being sold to direct to consumer like Trek and Specialized and Canyon and everybody else, which, by the way, are failing at that because there's just not a market anymore. So as now anyway. So that's an interesting little side note of brands out there doing their thing. And the last topic that I pulled was it's actually kind of brilliant. It's from REI. REI's they've been struggling. They're a Seattle-based company. They're sporting goods store, more higher end for camping and hiking, and from snowshoeing to rock climbing. So they're that kind of a venture style sporting goods, not like the sporting goods chain I worked for, was basically just selling shoes and baseball bats. But they did a little bit of other. But and they're hurting, and they're closing a whole bunch of stores. So you look at REI, and they've been having not some great times. They've restructured their warehouses, they've closed some shops, and laid off a whole bunch of people, like every other company has been dealing with the last 2-3 years. Well, they came up with the concept of the green vest strategy. And what does that mean? Is what they're trying to do is provide experts within those particular categories, being a big target of a green vest. Like, you're the person that I need to talk to about the bicycles in REI or the rock climbing equipment and that kind of thing. More specialized, non-AI driven experts-ish that will help those individuals of getting into those particular sports. So same concept when you walk into a bike shop, you're thinking like, oh, I'm here for a mountain bike. I'm presuming going to think I'm going to get a sales associate that knows everything about mountain biking, including the brands that they carry. That's a little misnomer because they usually drink a lot of their own Kool-Aid with the brands that they sell. They may not know the other brands at all, except for a Google search. So not sure how vested the green vests are going to be for like being educated on the particular ones, but their chain, they do have they have ability to resource and train their staff to be very effective. Interesting experiment. And if you're not already done that in your shop, and if your shop hasn't really niched down on what you're supporting in your community, like I do road bikes. I mean, that's my thing. I don't do full suspension. I'll work on them, but it's not that I'm really focused on that kind of thing. So, and it seemed to work with me. And if that niche bleeds out and it changes, and I need to support a different part of the cycling, because it's a huge piece of pie out there of different things to support, from e-bikes to triathletes. I mean, there's a huge range. And if it needs a shift from road bikes to more commuter recreational bikes or to whatever, I'm going to be able to do that. I will do that. I'll need to do that to be able to keep going. And a lot of shops did those shifts. They had a concept. Go Guava is a really good one. For example, they've in 2 years in the business, been in cycling industry, but 2 years having a brick and mortar store. And what his concept of what the shop should be at the beginning is to almost completely different what it is today, being driven by his community and the niche that is available to basically support. That's what it comes down to. It's like what they're there for. Any case, so you're going to see a lot of shops already have changed, and they're going to continue to do so, especially when it's more service driven. a more used bike, parts and accessories driven, because there's no tariffs on used products. It's already here. And there's a whole bunch of garages waiting that are wholesaling all of our used stuff, like just waiting to be bought. In my market, absolutely. There's like specials and deals going on all the time where, if I'm just out there keeping a pulse on it, can find some pretty good deals and then provide those parts and frames without too much expense, or bikes with uplift, basically my labor, to pay me to do what I do, but also provide them a good product at the end. So it's a win-win. That was the whole concept of my business initially, is to find bikes, refurbish them, and provide those bikes for a fit included or whatever, to get those people out riding without spending very expensive bucks. So this business model, even though it has changed somewhat, it's been very effective. I wouldn't say proof of anything like recession proof, but it's been okay. And regardless of our hardships my family and I have endured recently, this can be ramped up and still hopefully offset some of the lost income that we're enduring. So we'll see. Don't want to be a Walmart greeter or fulfillment center or whatever just yet, but I think I have enough leverage here to keep things going and flying. What does have to change? Time commitment. Case in point, the show's ending an hour earlier. Sorry. Fortunately, I can't do the full 2 hours. I got stuff I need to work on and focus. I still wanted to do it. This topics today were a little kind of hard to do while working. So the shows and the content are going to be a little more precise, surgically done, less effort and time on me to produce them. So yes, less polished videos and so forth. Not to say they were very polished to begin with, a little more crude, but you'll still get content. I'm not abandoning anything, but it's more effective for everybody. So it's probably a good thing. Less fluff, I guess, maybe, or cut to the chase kind of thing. Anyway, let's go back to the chats. Yep, Salt Lake City. All right. Too many fly-by-night bike shops, saturating the market since 2020. Need more brick and mortar stores that fit your vision. Somewhat. There's a yes and no. Granted. Okay, it's not the fly-by-night bike shops. It's more of the fly-by-night flippers. People that just buy a bike, wash it, and relist it for a couple $100 more, saying it's tuned up, which it sure shit is not, and very unsafe to ride. And there's one cat in Boulder. I mean, I hope he gets popped, because what they are doing, I question majority of his inventory is hot, and just whatever. So there's several of those out there. Hopefully they'll be bled out to a point where they can't afford to do anymore and just go get a real job, or do something else other than, because they have no business being in it. And then, then you have individuals like myself. I'm insured. I pay the taxes. Everything's done by the books. I'm everything except for a brick and mortar location. Those are the ones we need to support more, because that's where a lot of bike shops, where the overhead's way too expensive, they have to find other ways of basically making an income, doing what they love doing without the exorbitant overhead costs. Maybe in somebody's garage, maybe in Joe's basement, maybe it's a storage, one of those lifestyle storage units that have a bathroom and heating. But quite honestly, at the end of the day, with the power of the internet and able to market that, you can get one of those industrial buildings, have a business out of it, and be very effective. And basically you keep your costs the same for overhead, for not leasing, because that's what killed Parker Bikes. Was we went up for another lease, we expanded, couldn't support it, we were out of business in 9 months. So even though we built our business for over a decade before that, it was just like went so fast, so quick. And if you had a stable costs on your building, you're not re-signing a lease every 3 years or 6 years, whatever the lease is, and then you lose your profit from that lease, new upgrade, and it always goes up. So therefore, you can keep that stabilized. You can have possible chance, a snowball hell and chance to actually have a business that lasts more than 5 years, 6 years. So you're going to see a lot of those shops, if they haven't already, broke down, go smaller, go industrial, and still support the cycling community. That's the end of the day. Then you still have shops that have bigger locations and footprints and so forth, and they're doing alterations, but they're still going to have some hardships to some level. But if they own their buildings, that really is a big start of helping to endure what we're going to be faced with. Already have been. All right. But yeah, I mean, you have a point. There's some, I mean, a shady mechanic-ish that barely knows how to work on bikes is not going to go get insurance, is not going to get a business license, and not going to be paying sales tax. So if you have one of those, and they have all the documentation to support it, I think they're probably okay. And that's another thing too, is there's no, within the cycling industry, somebody can open up a shop across the street saying they're this greatest bike mechanic and have zero experience. That's just how it is. There's no qualifications and so forth. I mean, for the e-bike thing, there's some qualifications or certifications for e-bike, Bosch motors and so forth, but it doesn't cover the whole spectrum of everything. So that's just, it's always been that way. Should it change? Probably. But will it? Most likely not. So anyway, let's see. Susan says several of our local competitors have retired, and more are going to soon. Is this a thing in our region too? Well, the big Trek acquisition of a lot of shops and Specialized too before our downturn, that's what it was. A lot of the shop owners, they didn't have anybody in their family want to take over the shop or their chain, and they basically just, this is their opportunity to cash out, have Trek pay for all their debt and get out of the business and maybe have some money at the end of the day to either retire or what have you. It started off with Trek acquisition of, what was that, DC, Revolution Cyclery in DC. It was a retail toolkit client of ours. They had 3 or 4 locations. The guy was like done, like I'm out. And they couldn't find a buyer, so Trek's like, you're too big to fail because we're selling too many bikes, too many Treks in that market with your locations. So that was one of the first acquisitions. And then they got, smelled blood in the water. And that's where they bought all these others. But now, using all that capital of buying all these shops, and now they're not supporting their investment, they're now shrinking. So yes and no. Right now though, if a bike shop owner's like done and needs to tap out, they basically close the doors. There's nobody buying them right now, unless it's some really unique anomaly like it was in Boulder, where Pond Holdings under Mike's Bikes flag bought a location there. But that's the only ones I've seen that have been acquisitionally bought. I don't think anybody's opening any stores right now. So we're a shrinking market right now and going to continue to do so for the next 3 years if things don't change, in my opinion. So don't send anybody over to my house and take me away yet. EH6050, you're right. I mean, the e-bikes have a great application for those to even the level field of riding with either your family members or group rides and so forth. You're able to ride with your son now with 17. I mean, yeah, 17. It's hard to keep up with 17 if you haven't been riding a lot. And it's great. It actually does open opportunities for people for sure. Absolutely. And that's where I see the benefit of it. And I always say this story, and you probably heard it before if you watch my channel. I call them the grannies. Every time I go for a bike ride around the Loveland Loop, there's like there are 5 or 6 of these older ladies, and they're retired, and they're just riding on their e-bikes, not going fast, and half the time they're just parked on the side of the trail, just having a great time, just chattering away. But yet, they probably wouldn't be out riding if they didn't have the e-bikes, because this way they all can stay in a little group and go do their thing and have a fun time. So there is a place for it, absolutely. And I love seeing that. It's just like gets people out there. It's just awesome. Anyway. Yeah, we have some people. Yeah, we'll see. The bike shops in my area are holding up so far, but I'm sure there's going to be change for sure. Good added insights there. Hard-boiled. I want to say hard bodies, but that's kind of seeing it. Old man eyes. Sorry. Bye. Sorry. Lots of shops closing in Utah too. Yeah, I've seen a few on like YouTube channels kind of just the nosedive and crash and burn. And it's sometimes you get too far in it and you're like, you can't turn the ship around. It's better just to close up, call it good. But it's a very hard industry and has been for decades. So anyway, yeah, John has a good point here. Walmart's making some big noise on Ozark brand, which is their house brand, Ozark Trails, if you haven't heard. Active Maddie is another channel. It's a former baseball player, got into mountain biking and recreational cycling, and he's done some good little interviews of shops and so forth. Pretty cool cat. It's kind of interesting to see somebody that's really not from the cycling industry do cycling industry stuff. It's like some of it's a hit and some of it's like, what are you talking about? But anyway, applaud him and, good for him. And he has a couple videos on some Ozark Trail stuff. And I've worked on a couple of them. Not bad, not horrible. If they were tuned up from the beginning, like a proper build, they probably last a little bit longer. And they fit in that market, that price point, the piece that people are needing right now, where maybe ideal bikes will fit that kind of thing. But Ozark Trails is, it's not a brand sold in other places. It's their own house brand. So somebody's making it for them, i.e. a bigger company that makes majority of the bikes that are coming in the U.S. from China and other countries. White labeling of many brands, but they're not too, if they got the proper staff to build those, or they source out a shop to build them for them to put onto the floor, that could be something that's very impactful into the cycling community. It would hurt bike shops somewhat, but the bike shops are not carrying those bikes to compete to that in the first place. So, but it is 80 to 90% of our market. Keep that in mind. There's a huge piece of the pie out there where we can service by either leveraging used bikes to get people into professionally built and taken care of bikes ready to go, versus going to a department store brand that's built by possibly a stock person, which, maybe they're great, maybe they're not. I don't think the consistency is there. But anyway, there is that brand, and they have a decent mountain bike and some gravel bikes. They are listening, and they are providing. Bike manufacturers need to do the same thing. Let's just say that. And during our economical change right now, they're trying to figure out something. I don't know what they're going to come up with, but they need to do something. And I'm sure there's a lot of board meetings going on right now, and there's a lot of banging on the counters and saying we need to do this and what have you. And we'll see if it, changes the directions, what the customers are actually looking for. If they're listening to their independent bike dealers going, this is what we're seeing, what's coming in our door. We can't be selling those $5,000 to $10,000 bikes right now because I'm not ordering them, because nobody's coming in. And if they do, we'll do a special order. Other than that, nope, it's not happening. So there's a lot of us, as Susan has a great point. Thank you for chiming in. Turning 65. I just hit 55. Double nickels. You're it's not double nickels. I mean, it is a different currency. Um, uh, bad joke. Sorry. Lost some thought there. And a lot of us cycling people that have been in industry, a lot of us still love what we're doing. And man, you will have to pry the park tools out of my dead body when I'm done. Like, it's just it. Or my body will break down to a point where I can hardly hold on to a wrench. But in the meantime, I love what I'm doing. I will keep doing this, even though things may change around me. I will still plug away and stubbornly try to help others in my cycling community to enjoy cycling, as well as other shops trying to make it a go, and try to help their shops become better. Because there's a lot of room for all of us to improve. And as you've been in the cycling industry as long as I have, as well as even short time, you quickly learn that one thing is a constant, and that is change. And you constantly are changing. And it's either the new tech that you're all pissed off about because it's dumb, or, in my opinion, because I'm old and crotchety, or it's the environment around me, like, oh, I don't like these e-bikes. Well, once you get around them and get to figure it out, like, oh, they're not too bad. They're just another thing. It's like you get used to it, and you warm up to it eventually. But it takes that first knee-jerk reaction at my age, and especially when you're 65, it's like, oh hell no, I'm not going to do that. That's dumb. But anyway, as long as we can still more comfy shoes, more padding underneath. I need to invest one of these days into a lift. Those bike tool companies that want to donate a park tool lift or a union or whatever to save my back. I would not say no. Oh yeah, and you worried about the next generation picking up the torch, and bike mechanics and local bike shop owners. That's a good point. I think we've been at this, Susan. I think we've been at this crisis of a lack of ecosystem of cultivating new bike shop owners and bike mechanics for the last 2 decades. But there's been an insurgent of the other direction. But I'll start off back in the early 2000s, in the 90s, in the early 2000s. Before direct-to-consumer was a thing, before the internet become a thing, people learning how to own their bikes had to crack a book open versus anywhere else. A lot of local bike shops, i.e. Parker Bikes, we would have high school kids come in, we'd hire them, like age of 15 and 16, learning how to work on bikes, and sure enough, when they went to college, they'd go get a bike shop job, and they'd be a little more seasoned because they went through a couple years at our bike shop, and then be like cultivated in college. And if they want to proceed to go any further, they could. So maybe, like management, had to go to management. But that ecosystem of cultivating bike mechanics, for example, is no longer there. It died out. Reason being is the small mom and pop shops, i.e. Parker Bikes, null and void. They no longer exist because they got absorbed or went out of business from the new concept stores from Check and Specialized. These concept stores elevated the showrooms and the bike shop ecosystem, if you will, to a different level. And I think that hurt the industry, not all shops, of course, but it hurt the ecosystem of cycling in cycling shops in the United States, for sure. The small mom and pop shops, if they didn't do it right or hang on long enough, they had to go choose one or the other direction, which caused a cascade of shortage of the ecosystem of bike mechanics coming up the ranks. And then we have Barnett's. It's another thing. Barnett's used to be a college, and there's a couple schools still left, but Barnett was like the main school for learning how to work on bikes, and that's where a lot of these companies would hire from. Barnett's is no longer around. They got bought by QBP and driven to the ground and closed. my opinion, but that's what it seems like it happened. Now it's more recent. But when you had the insurgence of Trek buying shops, as well as Specialized following suit and pawn holdings, this is where the bike mechanic had an opportunity to work for a shop that paid benefits and had health care and time off, which you could not get at local independent bike shops for most cases. That's why I had to leave Lee's Cyclery in 2005, because I hit the glass ceiling. I couldn't go any further. There's no opportunities unless I went and became a bike sales rep, which nobody would have hired me, or work in corporate, which I didn't have a degree to go into corporate. So therefore, I jumped ship and went into Big Pie Sporting Goods, which was a self-promoting company where I can go up the ranks all the way up to a district regional supervisor if I wanted. If I wanted to push it through. If I had the talent and the skill and the luck, I was on track of doing that. So since the change in the bike industry was basically, yes, there are chain stores now. Like I think Trek got up to like 400 stores at one point. Now they're kind of retracting a little bit. But those individuals that I've worked with at Lee's Cyclery are now working at the Trek store or the Specialized stores here locally. Have been there for several years, and they are reaping the benefits of paid time off, health benefits, and all that, and also opportunity to be promoted beyond just the service manager. So that's a good thing-ish, because they're still bike people. They're drinking the Kool-Aid, but there's still more bike people than just cookie-cuttered individuals. But unfortunately, the downsizing of the shops that Trek and Specialized are doing is laying off people. So therefore, either those people are going to go find another shop to work at, or they're just going to leave the industry in whole. So we have a big shakeup, layoffs. Basically, at this point, they're going to look for anything that just pays the paycheck and has benefits. Same scenario here. So it's one of those things where it's going to change, has been changing. This like speeds up some change, and we don't know what the new norm is going to look like yet. We don't have a clue. We have not. I mean, nobody has a clue what it's going to look like. Is there going to be any more chain stores? Is REI going to crash? Is all these other good ones going to crash? Is all just going to be just Walmart bikes? Who knows? I mean, there's so many variables at play right now, and so many things that are not going in the right direction to make it what it was, and nor will it ever be that. So regardless of how you feel about it, definitely is change in the air, and it's going to be permanent change. It's not going to be just a little bit here, a little bit there. It's going to be pretty drastic. Oh, can't chime in. You're watching me on a trainer from snowy Indiana. And hey, fact. Oh, I appreciate it. We're different people. He's referencing the Bike Farmer, which is a huge channel. It is what it is. He's an all right guy, and good for him for what he's done. But anyway, I'm doing my thing. I'm not worrying about them. I'm just hoping that people have opportunity to get out and ride more. But hope bike shops are still around to be able to service and work on bikes. I mean, I'm a bike mechanic. I love working on bikes. It's fun. I'm about ready to dive into this Mossy. I got stuff to do. I got a frame, this frame, and some parts I need to list. And I got some busy work. Got a great customer coming in and pick up his bike that's been tuned up and it turned out beautifully. And then I got a laundry list of other stuff. But in any case, that's where we're at right now. It's going to be challenging for me. I got to work a lot harder, a lot smarter. And I'll take you along with the journey. So those who are in the bike industry or bike shops and you're like, man, that's a good idea. Maybe I should try that. we gotta rely on each other, because right now, um, we just have to. We're not competitors anymore. We're basically trying to keep each other to survive, because what's better, like, if you keep going, I keep going, and everybody will, if we fare through this, we'll be stronger and a little bit smarter. And I just, thank goodness I have cultivated a very strong cycling community for me, where my customers, which I've just considered them more of my community, come in and have me work on their bikes in a dead of winter. I've been the busiest in January ever. I mean, ever. I mean, so many bikes that came my way to work on. February is stacking up pretty good, but now I have to streamline my time so I can accommodate more service tickets. Not really what I wanted to do, but that's what I need to do. That's what's going to have to happen. And so, yeah, working a little harder to get through what we need to get through. But at the end of the day, hopefully we're a little bit, service more people, get them on bikes, help them. And again, guys are going through hardships, comment below, and if watching some replay, keep the conversation going. Yeah, it's an eye opener, and you just have to hope, but you got to prepare. And we're in prepare mode, and yeah, not gonna be eating ramen too much, but definitely not gonna be eating out hardly at all, and everything's gonna be reviewed. And everything I can bring in on the bike shop portion of it is going to be very beneficial. So again, support my trusted partners, and you support them, you support me. You can go to my website, I Know a Guy Bicycles, and you'll see trusted partners. Those are all basically the affiliate, but then again, a lot of them are mostly vetted, that you're helping out smaller shops too. A couple of them are bigger, of course, but some of them it's just like ease. Like, okay, if you're an Amazon purchaser, go Amazon away. I mean, I can't change your influence. I can't change your shopping behavior, nor should I. Anyway, here we go. Cheers to all of you. I hope you all are just hanging in there. I'm trying to be positive as much as possible, because cycling is fun. It does give great joy to a lot of people. Also helps with mental stress relief, heart conditions. I mean, Kurt, the bike that he's picking up today, he suffered a heart attack last March. And he rode his age when he turned 77, I think it was 77, in August or September. I mean, who do you know that had a heart attack in like short period of time, like 4 months, within a year, rode their age? I mean, not very many people. So testimonial of cycling is really good for your ticker. And if it does have a hiccup, you're not going to die. Well, maybe you will, but you won't know that because you're dead. But anyway, I know that's kind of warped. But I mean, it's like one of those things that we know they're not just toys. We know they are more than just a flashy Ferrari driving down your city streets. It's a utility vehicle that's good for your heart, health, mind, and it could be used for a lot of different things. I've commuted before cycling. The cargo bikes are freaking awesome for doing stuff like that. Cuts down the emissions, cuts down traffic on the highways, less people die on the highways. We just need to figure out some of the e-bike stuff a little bit. And that part will shake out at some point. But overall, at the end of it, cycling is really, really cool. And they're a lot of fun. And it's just a privilege that I could support my community, and the community entrusts me to work on their bikes to get them where they need to get going. And that kind of spiritual move inside me to do such a thing, to impact people in such a positive way. Oh hell, I'm not going to stop doing this. Even if I have to go be a Walmart greeter, I'll still be doing this. This is where it saved me back when in my 20s to be a functioning adult. And now I'm trying to save all those that are having hard times and doing the best they can and what have you. So here's to all you in the cycling community. Thank you for joining me here on Shop Talk Tuesday. I got to get going, got crank tools and stuff. And hopefully it's not too much of a Debbie Downer. And thank you for supporting me, because it makes this channel, and you watching this, just in watching it, supports me. So I appreciate it too. I'm going to give out a shout outs to all those in the chat here. That's my closing. Joe Channel. Oh, you had a stroke 2 years ago? Oh, 100K ride 6 months later. Whoa. Nice. Good for you, man. That is, stories like that, just like, wow, just blows me away. Like, with Kurt, the bike I just talked about, he bought that bike from me 5 years ago when he retired, and he's been riding ever since, pretty religiously. And from there, they think, it's part of the reasons his heart attack wasn't so severe, that because of all the cycling he's been doing. So, if it, may not be work for you, but it couldn't hurt. John, thank you for joining in. Oh, yeah, thank you. Appreciate it for the kind words there. I try my best. I try to convey information. If you're a small bike shop and feel like you need support, check out the NBDA, check out the video. They have a lot of free stuff on the videos to watch and so forth that help out. If you had some funds and you want to do a member, I do have a discount code below if you wanted to go that route. I will hopefully still be in Vegas in March. And not to be in Vegas, no, the bike show's there, as well as the NBDA conference, which is 2 days. Hope to rub some elbows, talk to some people. I'm really kind of going just as a fly on the wall, just to sniff it out, what it's all about, and work on some partnerships and that kind of thing. But we'll see, definitely for sure. Regular username, thank you for chiming in, appreciate it. Appreciate you. Love my attitude. My attitude gets me a lot of trouble sometimes. Susan, thank you for chiming in from up north, as well as Joe. Both of you guys are family from the northern border. John as well again. Oh, Downrange Bike Works, thank you for chiming in and listening in. Hope the best to you. One of these days we should collaborate if you want, that kind of thing, or any of you. Just let me know. Do a little video, talk about your shops, your experiences, and so forth. It's all about a community, sharing and that kind of thing. That's if you feel like doing that. That's fine. Some people are just like camera shy as no other. It's fine too. Hard-boiled, thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it. 6050 as well. You guys did a lot of chats today. This is awesome. Good. Breaching Borders, Spooky Tuesday, 17. Always good to have you chime in as well. From the same state. And Patrick Washburn, thank you so much for tuning in from New Orleans. Mr. New Life, 1968. Yeah, thank you for bringing up the e-bike thing in Jersey. I still need to read up a little bit more on that, but it's kind of like it's not my neck of the woods, so really kind of buckle down on my problems right now. Not to say that other problems won't be my problems. David, thank you for chiming in as well. And good luck on your Le Mans. Those are some fun rides, man. And G-Pass from New York. Hope you have a wonderful day. McGolded, 3N. Yeah, thank you for chiming in, asking questions there. And David as well from Aurora. I think I almost got everybody here. Mr. Laffy Taffy, that's a great name. Say hello as well. All right. All those in the colder states or countries, stay warm. Crank the heat. Put on some extra layers, get out there for a short bike ride. I got to put on a couple layers to test ride a couple, I'm sure, today. Keep it efficient. Keep it real. if you're consumers, support your local bike shops. That's if they're worthy to be supported. I know grumpy ones, but I know some people have a bad day once in a while and they come off really brash. And I do have to say, out of all the industries out there, from everything, the bicycle industry has the most kookiest individuals ever, from diversity of interesting to wackadoodles. And a lot of them are perfectly harmless and nice and fine. And there are some people that have just gotten really bitter and pissed about things. And that's the human nature. It's really hard to combat that. Been there, burned out. I'm on the flip side of it. And I try to make it knowing that I can be, as my dad would say, you came off a little stark. So, snarky. No, it was snarky. That's what it was. You're a little snarky. So, like, and you reflect and you're like, yeah, damn it. I need to be a little bit better. So, try to be a little bit better. Try to service your community. Try not to get so wrapped up in everything and be all pissed off and bitter. It's easy to do. I'm not telling you to do the high road. I'm telling you to get angry at the right things, be motivated to do the excellent things, and be overall a good human being, period. Leave you on that note. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And yeah, if you watch or you buy crap on Amazon, not crap stuff like we do, we buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. Well, not lately. Shut that train down. But anyways, that's another way if you're in the Amazon world and getting stuff and so forth. This is how you can support me. Shop on Amazon. I do have a Amazon store, like the latest pick, basically, of products that are on sale, that kind of thing, and various other parts and tools and so forth that I suggest using within those particular categories. Check that out. Go through, and even if you don't buy the product that I suggest and you find something else that fits your needs better, or your grocery list, or whatever you end up buying, I get a little kick. So that's a good opportunity for you to get something, and I get something that helps support me doing what I'm doing. And again, thank you for all of you hanging out with me and going through these tough and challenging times. And again, I hope this gives you a little bit of warmth insights of what a bike shop is and what we're going through. And those who are in the industry, hopefully this gives you a little bit of feeling that you're not alone. You're not alone, and you have support groups, and you can find more support. Man, it sounds like an AA meeting. There's more support. It's like, would that be the BA meeting? We'll just go with the NBDA. Check them out. They're willing to listen, and they have some tools at their disposal to help you navigate this as well. And anyway, we're all in this together, people. So let's make the best of it. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you on Freak Out Friday, because by then I'll be really freaking out. I'm sure. And I will have this, I will try to get more guests on. I'll have more product features, that kind of thing. And again, support my channel. To support me, you just go to my Trusted Partner page. And I still need to put some more work into it to highlight more of those that do really support the community as well as me too. So in any case, thanks again. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm going to definitely try. Hey, I'm working on bikes. I can't complain too much, right? Tinkering, got tools, got some hot coffee. Life's good for me at this moment. Oh yeah, I got a bike with campy parts I got to take apart. See what that's all about. Old school campy too. Well, not that old. Hey, my tubeless tire setup stayed. Ah, sweet. That's a win. Ugh. Oh, Kurt's bike got flat again. I got to check the rim tape on that, see what's bad. In any case, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for chiming in.